I reached out to my friend for assistance with my husband and then witnessed the unfolding events. I believed that seeking help would simply provide me with the solutions I needed. I found myself unable to tear my gaze away as she inched closer to my husband. As I finally entered, his gaze met mine with the wonder of a first encounter. If you've visited us before and appreciate these tales, we invite you to take a moment to like and subscribe. It truly sustains the channel and holds significant value. Welcome to our community. If you're just joining us, we're glad to have you here. It's great to have you here. You're going to love this one. Let's get started. His hands rested lightly on my hips, relaxed, as if he were cradling a pillow rather than embracing a person. I gently arched my back, hoping to ignite a spark. Link, ignite, everything. He remained silent, continuing with a steady rhythm, his eyes half closed as if he were lost in counting the ceiling tiles. I released a gentle sigh, a blend of sound and aspiration. I loathed the way it echoed as soon as it slipped from my lips, yet I pressed on. I made some adjustments, adding more volume this time with the hope that he would respond. Not a single word escaped his lips, nor did he bother to open his eyes. I repositioned beneath him, tilting my hips slightly as I had come across in those articles. Discover the path, embrace resistance, and stay engaged. However, there was a distinct lack of reciprocity in this situation. He wasn't making any effort to compromise. He wasn't even glancing in my direction. I lifted my hand, gliding it along his chest to remind him of my presence once more. He recoiled as if I had surprised him, then managed a faint smile, reminiscent of a polite acknowledgement from an unfamiliar face. I allowed my hand to drop back onto the bed. Moments later, he tightened his muscles briefly before shifting onto his side. There was no kiss, no words exchanged, only the sound of him catching his breath as I lay there, gazing at the ceiling, untouched and vulnerable. He drew the covers closer, turning away. I wrapped the blanket around me, attempting to dismiss the hollow ache within, as the lack of his warmth turned everything into a chill. Is that all there is? Is that truly what we have turned into? The ceiling fan whirred overhead while his breathing gradually eased. I felt a sense of suspension, as if I had committed an offense without any awareness of it. I had followed all the cues, moved as I believed I should, yet it all felt like a script that eluded my comprehension. The most frustrating aspect was that I felt completely lost, unsure of what to do next. The following day, I found myself in the office cafeteria, idly stirring my cold coffee when Lena approached my table, her signature grin lighting up the room. She plopped down into the chair opposite me with an air of confidence as if it were her throne. "Have you heard about that individual from payroll?" She began, already deep into the tale. "The tall individual who consistently carries the scent of cinnamon gum?" I arched an eyebrow. "Which option will you choose?" She dismissed it with a wave. "It's not important." He extended an invitation for a date. Once more. Just moments after he mentioned he's exploring things with someone else at the moment. I wished them good luck and then turned to leave. I couldn't help but chuckle. Naturally, she would. It was Lena, quick-witted, agile, and entirely free from discomfort. She refrained from flirting. She captivated those around her only to determine if they were deserving of her presence. "It must be tiring to always be so captivating," I remarked. She reclined with a whimsical sigh. "To be frank, absolutely. It feels as though every little action I take is interpreted as a flirtation." I smiled, yet a subtle twist stirred within me. It had been months since I experienced that level of attention, perhaps an extended duration. She caught the change in my expression. "How are you doing?" I took a moment to pause and shrugged my shoulders. "Absolutely, it's been ages since anyone has looked at me in that way, or perhaps even acknowledged my presence." Her expression became a touch gentler. "Your husband is still stuck in that work haze." Lena cast me a knowing glance, devoid of pity. "That's astonishing to me. Honestly, if someone like him isn't recognizing your worth, perhaps he's simply lost sight of the incredible value you bring." She took a moment, then added with a playful smirk, "Not that I haven't noticed him myself." I blinked. "Oh, so you've caught sight of him?" She flashed a sly grin. "Half the women in this building have, indeed." It ought to have hurt. Strangely enough, it didn't. I found myself captivated. I reclined in my chair. "All right, specialist. What's the magic behind your success? What's the secret to making men pursue you like that?" Lena gave a casual shrug. "It's no secret. I simply keep it simple. It's completely natural." I nodded, but then paused. A heaviness settled in my chest, elusive and unnamed. "In a hypothetical scenario, Could you demonstrate it for someone who might be overthinking it? Lena arched an eyebrow. I meant that I added it quickly, not as a general statement. I was referring to him. Only one time. So I can identify what I'm lacking. For a brief moment, she regarded me as if weighing the sincerity of my words. Her smirk returned, this time with a deliberate slowness. That's more daring than what we typically see. I never expected that from you, she remarked. That's great to hear. On the next Saturday, we found ourselves in the living room, him engrossed in his phone, while I feigned interest in my book. The silence that lingered between us had become a comfortable presence, much like the furniture we had long since stopped noticing. However, this evening, everything was set to change. I have an exciting surprise for you, I mentioned nonchalantly. He raised his gaze. Absolutely, what type of surprise are we talking about? Just wait and see. He offered a faint smile. Are there no clues available? It's time for you to hop in the shower, I insisted. Take your time and ensure every detail is covered. He blinked. Are you serious? I gave a nod. Trust me, you'll be grateful down the line. He shot me a curious glance before rising to his feet and stretching his limbs. All right, now you've piqued my curiosity. He made his way to the bathroom, each step deliberate and hesitant. The moment he disappeared from view, I sensed it, a constriction in my chest. The moment had finally arrived. I found myself caught between excitement and sheer terror. Moments later, the doorbell chimed. Couldn't wait to dive in. Lena entered the room with a serene composure, as if she was already familiar with the scene before her. She cast a quick look down the hallway. Where's he located? While in the shower, I mentioned. I pivoted and guided her toward the bedroom. As we entered, I gently shut the door, sealing us in. Silence enveloped the house, at least for the moment. The only thing remaining was to wait. He emerged from the shower in no time at all. He strolled into the bedroom, a towel wrapped around his waist and his hair still damp from drying, but came to a halt when he caught sight of us. His gaze darted back and forth between me and Lena. She positioned herself by the bed, exuding calmness and confidence. I remained in my position, offering him a subtle, unwavering nod. Can you clarify what this is? He inquired, his tone measured. I mentioned I had a surprise, didn't I? Here's something just for you. He cast a glance her way, then turned his attention back to me. So, you're simply observing? I moved in a bit closer. Observing and absorbing. Experienced the joy of it. Lena entered with unwavering confidence. Her hand rested on his chest, a gentle yet assertive touch. There's no need to worry, she reassured softly. Allow me to look after you. She leaned in, pressing her lips softly against the center of his chest. Once more, just above the towel. With a swift motion, her fingers danced to the knot at his waist, effortlessly loosening it in one fluid gesture. The towel slipped free and fell away, silent as a whisper. She descended with elegance, moving slowly and effortlessly. Her hands glided up his thighs, effortlessly and with purpose. She leaned in, her demeanor steady and composed. He tightened his muscles, let out a quick breath, and found his balance with a reassuring hand on her shoulder. I remained silent, my gaze locked on every subtle shift. Her rhythm was deliberate, her presence unwavering. She allowed him to immerse himself in the moment, attuned to the delicate shifts in his breath. His chest heaved with intensity and his eyes fluttered to a close. I observed her movements, noting the timing, the connection, and how her free hand rested against his leg. Initially, that was my sole focus. She pressed soft kisses along his stomach, savoring each moment. With a graceful motion, she extended her arm and took his hand, leading him gently toward the bed. He trailed quietly, perching on the edge of the mattress. Lena drew near once more, her fingertips gliding softly over his skin as she closed the distance between them. Her lips lingered and she advanced with intention, each of her movements perfectly synchronized with his breath. With a firm grip on the sheets, his jaw tightened, and a sharp breath was held in his throat. A gentle flutter danced in my belly, my thighs instinctively pressed together. The warmth was intensifying, quietly yet undeniably expanding. Yet I continued to observe. She took a moment, then climbed onto the bed, swinging one leg over him, her knees sinking into the mattress, her hands gently resting on his bare skin. She gazed down at him, their eyes intertwined as she inched closer, their bodies synchronizing in flawless harmony. He emitted a sound, soft yet gritty. She pressed against him, her fingers splayed across his torso in an intimate embrace. She started to move. Her rhythm remained unwavering, perfectly aligning with his every movement. His hand glided up her thighs, settling on her waist, allowing her to dictate the rhythm. With every movement, there was a delicate transformation, affirming of his hold, a change in her breath. I observed them seamlessly align. My heart raced. I surrendered to the rising heat within, my hands synchronizing perfectly with theirs. She leaned in, her chest brushing against his, and whispered softly just above his ear. He let out a breathy sound, then softly maneuvered her onto her back. She descended gently, moving under him with confidence and grace. She followed his lead, and he assisted her in settling onto her stomach. Her chest sank into the sheets, arms cradled beneath her, her body arching gently to connect with his. He matched her rhythm, his movement smooth and deliberate, while her breathing became erratic, sharp and uneven. He remained by her side, initially steady, then picking up pace gradually. The bed shifted subtly beneath them. Her fingers clutched the blanket tightly, her back arching and rising with every movement. He adapted to each reply she offered. Another breath slipped from her lips, unsteady and wild. I had stopped analyzing. I glided alongside them, my body entranced by the rhythm they wove. The fire within me had completely consumed my being. Her breath became uneven. Her face was buried in the pillow, her body quivered beneath his caress. And then it occurred. An exhilarating wave surged within her, rendering her breathless and motionless. He lingered in that moment, silent, his hands softly placed at her sides. Lena turned her head with a gentle grace, her smile warm and rosy, delicate strands of hair brushing against her cheek. Our gazes locked. "You won't gain much just by standing back and watching," she said, her voice low and playful. "Step right up." I rose gradually, my legs unsteady yet filled with anticipation. Lena stepped aside, her eyes conveying a silent understanding. My husband remained kneeling behind her, yet as I drew near, he met my gaze with intensity and withdrew. Lena turned her head, her breath still caught in her throat. "Follow my lead," she whispered gently. He reclined, breath quickening, eyes flitting between us. Lena gently took my hand and led me to my knees next to the bed. "Begin gently," she murmured, her lips grazing my ear. "Experience him. Keep it simple." I leaned in, feeling a mix of hesitation and curiosity. My touch was gentle and tentative, yet he responded immediately. His breath caught, fingers gripping the sheets tightly. With newfound motivation, I leaned in further. My lips brushed against his chest, gentle and tentative at the beginning. With each movement, I sensed his tension, a heat radiating just beneath the surface. Just like that, Lena whispered next to me. "He belongs to you already. Experience it." I established a soothing cadence, allowing him to surrender to it. His hand rested on my shoulder, steady yet gentle. He wasn't merely replying. He was observing intently. I stood up, and Lena joined me at my side. Her hand glided down my sides, gently removing each layer, providing support as I moved ahead. She led me to the bed, positioning me so that I was straddling him. "Let go," she whispered, her lips brushing against my shoulder. "Embrace freedom." I positioned myself above him, feeling a subtle tightness in my chest. He gazed up at me, initially taken aback, but then I noticed it. A glimmer in his eyes, a spark, the kind I hadn't witnessed in ages. Lena lingered just behind me, her hands gently resting at my waist, steering our initial movements. "Begin with the hips," she murmured, a hint of playfulness in her voice. "Let him glide alongside you with those small rolls." I took her guidance. My hips swayed, tentative at first, then again, more slowly this time. He inhaled sharply, his grip on my sides gentle yet firm. "That's it," she exhaled. "Don't rush to keep up, allow him to align with your tempo." Her lips brushed softly against the skin just below my ear while her fingers lingered at my waist. Each action I took ignited a fresh spark within him, his hands, his breath, the intensity of his gaze fixed on me. With every descent, he greeted me with increasing warmth. His hands glided with intention, one tracing the curve of my back while the other held firmly at my hip. I ceased to hear Lena, and her touch faded away. All that existed was him, his eyes, his body beneath mine, the warmth surging in my chest, eclipsing everything else. I bent down and pressed my lips against his, filled with longing and intensity, and he welcomed me in without a moment's pause. I hurried forward, propelled by the whirlwind of emotions within me. My thighs quivered, my hands pressed against his chest, gripping firmly, lost in the moment, devoid of thoughts or calculations, simply immersed in sensation. And he responded in kind. His grip grew more intense, his lips brushed against my jawline, his breath warm and uneven. While our movements may have lost their fluidity, the unrefined quality enhanced the experience. His lips barely formed my name, a whisper that shattered the pressure within me in an instant. My head dipped, breath hitched, shoulders trembling. I leaned into him, sensations surging, every nerve ignited. As I finally raised my eyes, I found him still positioned below me, jaw set, brows furrowed, breath uneven. His gaze remained unwavering. His body curved under my touch, his hold grew stronger. He stood there, pushing himself to the limit, gasping for air. His gaze was fixed on me, intense and ravenous, as if he was truly seeing me, for the very first time. In that instant, I realized he was on the verge of shattering. Before you go, please respond to this. If your wife introduced someone like that and encouraged you to relax and enjoy the moment, would you simply observe, or would you step in and take charge? Let's be real, wouldn't you want to be part of that experience as well? If you found yourself in that position, what actions would you take? Share your thoughts in the comments, I'll be sure to check them out. Before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, and activate notifications, ensuring you stay updated with our latest content. We appreciate your viewership.